Folks, if you listen to this show, you know that I am obsessed with Me Undies. I now have like 5 pairs, and they are my favorite underwear I own. So, right now, as a listener of So Bad It's Good, you can get cozy and spooky for less with deals up to 50% off at meundies.com/sobad and enter promo code SOBAD. That's meundies.com/sobad, promo code SOBAD for up to 50% off. MeUndies, comfort that's made for fall. Howdy, folks. Welcome to So Bad It's Good. This is your pal Ryan, and this is your Friday episode. We did it. We made it to the end of the week, and I wish we could celebrate with something fun, but instead we have to talk about Real Housewives of Orange County because this is a recap of Thursday night's episode. But don't worry, we're going to make it fun, even though, my God, I'd rather get my anal cavity checked in some sort of weird experiment. I'm just pulling that off the top of my head, or some kind of root canal. But we'll talk about this episode, and we'll talk about a couple of other things, obviously, before that. How are you? Are you a little grossed out that I just said anal cavity? Me too. Really didn't plan on that, but, this is a live podcast. I will not go back and edit that. How... You're good, right? Are you good? You made it to the end of the week. Listen, if you like Bravo, you've had a good week on this show, potentially. We did a Potomac recap, a Salt Lake recap. We talked a Bravo breakdown with LaKendra on Wednesday, and now we're doing OC. We'll talk a hair about Miami. We'll talk some other Bravo things. We'll see if anything else in pop culture comes to mind. And also this week on Saturday, we have a special show talking about Taylor Swift and Taylor Swift's new album. I'm not sure if you are aware that her new album has been out for a week now, and I've processed it a little bit more. People are still freaking out about it. A lot of anger and a lot of joy about this album, but we will talk about it on Saturday this week on a special So Bad It's Good. So just make sure you're subscribed. All those pods will show up in your feed, and I know a lot of people catch up on episodes throughout the weekend. So thank you for being here whenever and wherever you're listening. Oh, also, we are getting closer to finalizing our BravoCon 2025 meetup. Yes, we will be doing a baddie meetup. We're thinking it's going to be on Saturday. Saturday, more details will be provided. Patreon, I will let you guys know first, but there will be a meetup after, obviously, the day's events, but it is shaping up to be a good time, and I want anybody and everybody to come. If you were at BravoCon and you're like, hey, what do we do after the day's events and all the panels have ended? Come over and meet up with us. And I'll give you all that information in weeks to come. Of course, it will cost you nothing. Just a smile and a good attitude, and we will talk shop. We will talk Bravo. So very excited. Got some information about that today. So a couple quick thoughts about OC before we get into the recap of it all. Remember last week's episode, Tamra said, another one of those, you'll never see my face again. Said this is the last time I'm filming. And then this week she's back. It is like the Tamra who cried wolf. Nobody even takes it seriously anymore. Like, she showed up the next day to film in this episode. Nobody's really even questioning it. It's just something that Tamra does. And I think it is a really, really bad habit. And it shows how people really don't take her seriously, but at the same time, don't want to really engage with her in a fight. It is so weirdly lopsided. She really is the king, queen of the OC castle, but it's like a castle made of shit right now. Like, it is just not... It's just, where's the pizzazz? Where's the energy? Where's the, like, all of these ladies individually are fine. Like, I don't dislike any of these ladies, but as a group, it just does not work. And I will watch every I'm not going anywhere, but I know I talked to a lot of people, even LaKendra on Wednesday says I had to dip out. There's a lot of people that just don't watch this show anymore. And this show can be saved. I mean, it can be saved. This show is going nowhere. They're not going to take a year off. But I will say, the 20th season is a lock, right? They're going to do the 20th season. But if that 20th season doesn't work, you really are at this point risking going away for a good long while like Jersey. And I was thinking about this all day today because they filmed the reunion today for OC, which is good news because that means we're probably about 3 episodes away from the finale. Thank God, because this has felt like this is like longer than the Godfather trilogy. It just keeps going, and it is so weird in terms of the storyline and the Katie Ginella and dropping the Katie Ginella, and now it's Tamra and Gretchen. It's a lot of confusion, but my thought is, if you're going to go out and do a bunch of interviews, like if you're a cast member and you're Tamra and you've done like a full court press with like podcasts and appearances talking about this season, and you're stirring up drama outside of this season, make sure it is a damn good season. Don't let your off-screen antics or promotion be better than the actual show you're promoting, if that makes sense. Don't show, like, if you are Real Housewives of Salt Lake City or Real Housewives of Miami, my God, do whatever you want on the off season. Stir it up. Have fights with cast members. But if you have a show that is lackluster, don't go starting drama away from cameras. Like, what is that? Like, what are you doing? Why are you talking trash about any of these women when the camera is not up and you have delivered a poor season? That to me makes no sense at all, and it's disrespectful. But if you gave a great season, go promote until your heart's content. Do whatever you want to do. You want to call Shannon out? Call Shannon out. But if you are not giving a great season, there's no reason to do any of that. So I'm curious to, besides the reunion seating, I have not seen any leaks yet. Let me check Andy's Instagram. He usually does a couple posts. Oh my God, we're still here. It's 8:30 at night. Let's see if he's done any of those. One sec. Okay, 21 minutes ago, I'm recording this at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so that's 11 p.m. New York time. And 22 minutes ago, he posted on his Instagram story, "That's a wrap, Real Housewives of Orange County, Season 19. And he had posted one 9 hours ago just with the note cards, but he didn't do any other postings. He usually does a couple of posts. Those are the only 2. And I noticed this is in New York. Usually they film this in LA. So they flew everybody out to do this in New York. Cause I was wondering about that. Andy has such a busy schedule with, Radio Andy and Watch What Happens Live. I was wondering how he was going to make that trip to LA work, but it looks like they flew everybody to New York for this. He looks happy in the photo, so we'll find out more. But let's go over the reunion seating chart because this felt schizophrenic in a sense. I don't know if we can keep making sense of reunion seating anymore because this made no sense to me at all. So it was Andy in the middle, and to Andy's right, you had Tamra, Jeana, Heather Dubrow, and you had Katie Ginella at the very end. On the other side, right next to Andy, you had Jenn Pedranti, Emily Simpson, Shannon Beador, and then Gretchen. That is a lot of weirdness in this seating chart. So Tamra, I think you can make the argument she would be next to Andy. She was really right in the middle of most of the drama this season. Caused a lot of drama. Let's see which part of the reunion she walks out on if we're to take her performance this season seriously. But Jenn Pedranti, I don't necessarily understand why she would be next to Andy. I do have to remind everybody we have 3 episodes left, so maybe things pop off with Jenn Pedranti in a big way. But that was very confusing. And obviously, the biggest confusing thing here is Katie Ginella being on the end when Katie Ginella was really, even if she missed a bunch of episodes, was at the heart of the first, I would say 40% of the season. It was all Katie. Now, Katie and Gretchen being on the end, I do want to throw a theory out there that they are kind of almost treated as friends of, and they will not be seated on the stage for the entirety of the reunion. That's my thought why they are placed at the end on this seating chart. That would make the most sense because if Katie missed a lot of the season, why would she be out there for the whole thing? And Gretchen, just a reminder, she is a friend of. I could be wrong, but that was the first thought when I saw this. But this is just wacky. Shannon is really far down there, which I guess you can make an argument that she wasn't involved in a lot of this. But I don't know. This was just a weird seating chart for me for all the reasons I just said. Like, also, listen, where's Kiki Monique? I was hoping Kiki Monique would be in here. I was hoping the singer from 98 Degrees, Jeff Timmons, that's Tamra allegedly hooked up with, according to Gretchen and Slade. Where's Slade? Where's Archie Beador? Come on, Shannon's dog deserves to be there. The gluten-free cake lady from last week's episode deserves to be out there. Where are they? My God. Andy on Watch What Happens Live tonight with Heather Dubrow would not reveal to Heather if Slade and Matt Ginella would be there. He said, you'll have to see. You'll have to wait and find out, which makes it seem like they will be there. You know Slade loves a free trip to New York. Come on. He loves the Big Apple. With that weird Ned Flanders mustache, my God, of course he's going to be there. You know they will film like a group prayer with Gretchen and Slade at the reunion of like, dear Lord, protect us from that evil witch Tamra, and let us enlighten people about the word, your word, God, and help us secure another season where Gretchen is a full-time cast member. Please, God. Today was a big day, though, because we got the season 11 trailer for Southern Charm. Bapa do bapa dee dee dee. It is back on November 19th of this year, and it seems like Craig Conover is in the middle of all the storylines this season. Now, this was just like a 2.5-minute trailer, but this is what we got. This is what I picked up from it. The trailer starts, and Craig is like, I'm like having fun being able to kiss like anyone I want, guilt-free. And we start to get the picture that Craig is in the middle of a love triangle with Sally Carson, who came on the show last season, right? And also with a new cast member, I think her name is Charlie. And Charlie and Sally are friends, but they're both fighting over Craig. It comes up multiple times in this trailer. I will say there is no mention of Paige DeSorbo. There's no mention of Craig, Craig going through a hard time with the breakup or the breakup at all. He does mention that he's single a couple of times in the trailer. And I do wonder if Paige will be brought up and he will speak more about his feelings. But it is one of those reminders why I think Paige DeSorbo did make a great decision for herself about not appearing on Summer House this season, because she doesn't have to answer any of these questions on camera in a Summer House scene. But Craig will be expected to answer those questions. Like it almost elevates Paige in a certain way that she does not have to get involved in the muck and the mire, but Craig will have a whole storyline, or just even like having to hook up on camera, which Craig seems to do this season. Like, I think Paige, she's probably hooking up too, but she doesn't have to have that filmed. She doesn't have to share that with us, the goobers in the audience. I'm the main goober. You guys are barely goobers. I'm the main goober. Let's say. So anyways, Sally seems very overwhelmed with whatever this situationship is with Craig, and she gets upset at Craig at the beginning of the trailer, and she's like, yeah, I'm getting upset by all you fucking man-children. You man-children. Craig obviously is in his Eat, Pray, Love era. It's Stella getting his groove back, but it's Craig, old Craigie getting his groove back. You see at one point they do a costume contest where they dress up like each other, and Madison is dressed up like the cover of Shep Rose's book, Average Expectations. Or is it above average or below average? I forgot what the book title is, but she's dressed up like Shep, and that's funny. And also Madison's storyline is that she gives birth to her child, and we see the baby being driven home with Madison and her husband. That's very cute. Madison's in that kind of nice role where her position is there on Southern Charm, and it seems like her and Miss Patricia just talk shit about everybody else on the cast, which is nice work if you can get it. Molly, coming back for her second season, she has a storyline that she has a snake, a pet snake, but it's missing. We see her unfreezing a mouse from her freezer to help lure out her snake. Tell me less. We have another scene pointing out there's a love triangle between Sally and Charlie, but we also have a scene where Sally might have hooked up with Austin as well. Vanita has a lunch, it looks like, with Sally, where Vanita says, I don't like Craig. He will walk you like a dog with a leash until he's done with you. Vanita really coming for Craig, and Sally letting Vanita know that, like, listen, I still want to hang out with Craig. Sally Sally's got a Craig fever, you guys. Now, Austin's side, Austin's having like some kind of tea with Madison, and Madison's like, are you bored of your relationship? And then Shep and Craig are talking, and Craig's like, isn't there a rumor, like another cheating rumor about Austin hooking up with some roommates? And Shep's like, that is a salacious rumor. That is a salacious rumor. Listen, this wouldn't surprise me if Austin is hooking up with other people. It reminds me of one of my favorite scenes that I've told you guys many times on this show, when he got caught by Madison when those two girls were in his bedroom and he was in those underwear, and he came out, he was like, Madison, no, the girls fell through the ceiling. I don't know they're here. Madison. And then Craig and Austin, they are going at each other. Craig is like, Austin hates me. And Austin's like, I do hate you, brother. And then Craig in another scene is like, oh, Austin told me that he was jealous I was Sorry, I'm just belching. Craig says, Austin told me he was jealous I was single. And then Austin, I believe this is directed at Craig, says, you are a lost soul. You want to be anybody but yourself. And it's obvious. It's obvious. Also, I noticed in the trailer, Corey, folks, if you listen to this show, you know that I am obsessed with Me Undies. I now have like 5 pairs, and they are my favorite underwear I own. So, when that feeling, when the air gets crisp, the leaves start to turn and you're finally wearing those oversized sweaters again? Fall is the vibe. But you know what makes it even better? Knowing you've got MeUndies on underneath. Their micromodal fabric is like a warm hug, lightweight, breathable, and perfect for layering season. Now, get this. This is a real treat. MeUndies has just dropped their Halloween collection, and I am obsessed. I've got my eye on the men's long boxer brief with fly because it's glow in the dark and it has like these spooky ghosts all over them. And I was like, yeah, I will celebrate Halloween with MeUndies on. There's a style for everyone, though. And MeUndies has a cut for every butt with over 20 different styles in 100 different colors and prints. There is unmatched comfort with MeUndies, and it's responsibly sourced. They use sustainably sourced materials and work with partners that care for their workers. They have a problem-free philosophy. Not happy with your first pair of undies? It is on MeUndies. With more than 30 million pairs sold and 90,000 5-star reviews, MeUndies are an essential summer must-have for every drawer. So, right now, as a listener of So Bad It's Good, you can get cozy and spooky for less with deals up to 50% off at MeUndies.com/SoBad and enter promo code SOBAD. That's MeUndies.com/SoBad, promo code SOBAD for up to 50% off. MeUndies, comfort that's made for fall. This show is sponsored by our friends at BetterHelp. Now, when we're looking at therapy, we turn to a lot of places. We turn to our friends. We turn to the group chat. We turn to the local barista. We even sometimes turn to podcasters. Yeah, it's very sad. Even ChatGPT. But we don't need to do this. I mean, they're fun to talk to about everyday topics. But when you're looking for help about relationships, anxiety, depression, or any other clinical issue, they might not have all the right answers, and instead, I really suggest getting guidance from a credentialed therapist online with BetterHelp. Now, BetterHelp therapists work according to a strict code of conduct and are fully licensed in the U.S. Now, BetterHelp does this initial matching work for you so you can focus on your therapy goals. A short questionnaire helps identify your needs and your preferences, and their 10-plus years of experience and industry-leading match fulfillment rate means they typically get it right the first time. But if you are not happy with your match, you can switch to a different therapist at any time from their tailored recommendations. This is completely online. You can pause your subscription whenever you need to, and you can switch therapists anytime at no extra cost. You don't have to drive anywhere. You can do this in the comfort of your own home. And with over 30,000 therapists, this is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. So find the one with BetterHelp. Our listeners, So Bad It's Good listeners, get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/so bad. That's betterhelp, HELP.com/so bad. Folks, I use Mint Mobile, and you should be using it too. So if you're still overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. No contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, no BS. Here's why I said yes to making the switch and getting premium wireless for $15 a month. Guys, it's amazing, it's inexpensive, and it is the best coverage. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited, that's right, unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. And you can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring along your phone number, along with all your existing contacts. Ditch overpriced wireless and those jaw-dropping monthly bills, the overages, the hidden fees. Plans, like I said, start at $15 a month. So, are you ready to say yes to saying no? Make the switch at mintmobile.com/so-bad. That's mintmobile.com/so-bad. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Kiefer, Craig's friend, who we first met on Winter House, is in a scene in the hot tub with him and Sally. Also want to remind people JT is not coming back, so we've lost a couple of cast members, and we had that the gay couple from last season that was friends with Miss Patricia. Doesn't look like they're back, so we had Rodrigo. Rod is still there, and that is what I picked up from the trailer. No Whitney in this trailer. I think a brief appearance by Miss Patricia, but that's what the trailer is. Like, listen, it's November 19th. They'll do a panel at BravoCon. I would imagine maybe they'll even show us the season premiere of Southern Charm while we're at BravoCon, but let's see. Yeah, so that's it. Some people were saying it looked good. Some people were saying, oh, God, this again. I don't know. I always have high hopes for Southern Charm. I'm sad, though, because it didn't look like there was a lot for Shep in this trailer. And Shep had one of the best storylines last season with that girl Sienna that hated him, that did not want anything to do with him. And remember, Shep was like, I want to be a better man for you, and he was like, dear Sienna, and he was texting her, that really long text exchange. Oh, that was so fun. So yeah, November 19th, I'm sure we'll be covering it here on So Bad It's Good. And I just thought about it. I was like, oh my God, this will be the last season of Southern Charm I recap before I have a child. How will having a child affect my recapping of, and we're having a baby girl, and I think I'm going to get even angrier about these Charleston men, about men in general, about myself. My God. So with Austin and Craig, they have not been all right for the last couple of years, and they really what went on with them? We know little bits here and there, but then I was thinking after watching the Real Housewives of Miami reunion part 2 tonight, I mean, was there a Julia Adriana hookup somewhere? Did Craig and Austin hook up in the Hamptons and somebody got their feelers hurt? I mean, what is going on with these men? But I do want to talk briefly about Real Housewives of Miami. So we left off at part 1 of the reunion where at the very end, Julia was like, Andy, I would like to tell you that Adriana and I hooked up while we were in the Hamptons. And that's where they left it. And then we picked up right where we left off, and everybody was shocked on stage. And it's still a little confusing, but my God, the first 30 minutes of this reunion, I was glued. I was laughing. I was hyped up. I mean, this to me was cinema. Nicole Kidman is somewhere at an AMC watching this reunion part 2 going, oh my God, this is helping me with the Keith Urban breakup. I was on the edge of my seat, and I still don't have so many of my questions answered. So I guess Julia said this because she thought Adriana was almost blackmailing her about this information, that she wanted to beat Adriana to the punch. And who knows if that is the case. The overall vibe I got is that I believe I believe a good portion of what Adriana is saying, even though I do believe that Adriana was probably going to reveal it at some point. And I think Adriana really grew to have deep feelings for Julia. And if you watched other seasons of Miami, their relationship really, I mean, it's easy to see that they would have hooked up because their friendship was, it was like, oh, we're high on our friendship. Like it was a lot. It was a lot. So this doesn't surprise me that they hooked up, but I think, I don't know. Julia, I think, hooks up with a lot of people. And, she says Martina knows that she was going to say this. And then Adriana says, oh, listen, well, I know you've told me other things too. And she says, you also hooked up with a Haitian mortician. And it was so specific, like a Haitian mortician. Julia didn't outwardly deny it. And then she hooked up with like some other guy. Like, did you say a cop? Like a bunch of other people. But she says Martina knows about all these, but they don't have an open relationship, which also is, there was so many things that didn't get answered. And Andy on the fly, was just like, well, let's get back to that Haitian mortician. What's going on here? And then at one point, Adriana brought over a box and I was like, is this like 7? Like, what's in the box? And the box was like an art piece and it was her heart. It was like her heart was in the box because I think Julia broke Adriana's heart. It was really weird, you guys. And then finally, like about halfway through the show, Andy was like, well, let's take a break. And everybody decamped. And Julia was walking with Andy. And Julia was like, I only did hook up in the Hamptons, but we also hooked up at the Versace mansion. We hooked up at the Versace mansion, Andy. And, everybody's like, well, I think Alexia was like, oh, yeah, I mean, the Versace mansion, I would totally do that too. I would totally do that too. They cut out the scene that we saw last week in previews where Lisa Hochstein was like, scissor? Did you do the scissor? Like, that was cut out of this. I love that all of these ladies are just like, it's lesbian sex if you scissored. I'm like, do you know what lesbian sex is? It's not scissoring. Also, when Adriana was asked point blank if, her and Julia had sex, she was like, no, I could not have sex. I do not have a penis. And it's like, you don't need a penis to have sex, as Andy pointed out. But I was so enraptured by this storyline, and I could have done a whole hour of this. And unfortunately, once they got back from the break, Andy went into a storyline with Kiki and a little bit with Stephanie, and it paled in comparison to that. Now, I understand from a production standpoint, you got to get through all these segments. But I'm sorry, man, if you have a gift from God like that, first off, I would have never let them break. I would have kept going for another hour and a half, have them in there. You do not want to let that tension out. It's like air in a bag. You want it to continue, like filling up before it busts. And I felt like they left it too soon. Like, I want the unedited footage of this conversation, because I just couldn't believe they picked up and went back to the other storylines when you had this gift from God right here, this goal. Sorry to bring you up, God. God was like, I have nothing to do. I have nothing to do with any of Miami. But you know what I'm saying? No, all of these women's stories are fascinating. Miami is a solid show. So even Kiki talking about her dad and threats she was getting from Haiti, with her family members for not providing for them, because they think she's rich. That's a fascinating storyline. But if you just had a storyline where 2 of the cast members, it's revealed, started having sex, like, I'm sorry, you dump the rest of that. You're only here. We got one shot at this, one opportunity, as Eminem says. So hopefully on part 3, maybe they go back to that. I'm hoping. But it does seem like somebody broke somebody else's heart in that quote unquote friendship. And it really does make me very curious what Martina thinks of this. Martina's a very gruff woman with very strong opinions. And I would imagine she doesn't love, I'm sorry, Julia, even since like her first season on this show, has come off as somebody that is very flirtatious. And there's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with being horny, guy or girl. But there is something wrong if you are in this committed relationship and you are not in a potential open relationship. There is obviously something off with that. But even Julia was saying her kids even knew about this. And I was like, well, why did your kids have to know? I mean, Martina should know, but why do you have to go tell your kids about this? So, see, that's what I'm saying. I had so many questions still, but it was still fascinating television. I highly, highly recommend. And I'd be so curious, even if you don't watch Miami, if I just dumped you right into that second part of the reunion, if you would find it really good like I did. Who knows? Oh, also, I forgot. Adriana said about the Haitian mortician that Julia hooked up with. She was like, you had to buy him a coffee maker. You had to buy him a coffee maker. It was so damn specific. That's what I love. You know, that's what you're always taught as an actor is like be specific. Because anybody can do generalizations, but when you give specificity, and specificity, you know, she could have just said you hooked up with a guy, but she said Haitian mortician. You could have just went with mortician, a Haitian mortician. That's so specific. And then to give a specific detail of, you also had to buy him a fancy coffee maker. Like, my God, that just paints such a picture. It is so vivid. And that's what that's why specificity is just such a gift. It is like a gift that gives the audience so much. Okay, folks, there are so many news stories to get into, but let's get into Orange County. You don't have all day. Let's get to this episode. Wait, really quick, I just got this message from a friend and listener, and I love this. She messaged and said, listen, I went to see the show with my family, and she says, on the way there, we were talking about Dancing with the Stars, and I said that Whitney Levitt was the best one this season. I know nothing about her, nor do I want to, nor do I watch the show, she says. She says, my dad is 83. He asked me if she was one of the ones who were swinging in the swinging scandal. And I said, I have no idea, but maybe she was into soaking. I had to explain what that was, which I knew thanks to you and Sophie. Then he asked my sister-in-law about it because I guess she watches the Mormon Housewives. Then a stranger was talking to my brother and my dad brought up soaking. I said, keep that in the family. He's definitely going to go around town asking people, and I've unleashed a monster. Listen, that is one of the best. That's one of the best messages I can get, you know, because Sophie and I, if you remember, we were on a real soaking kick like 2+ years ago, even before Secret Lives of Mormon Wives came out or Salt Lake City talked about it. I had found an article a long time ago, and we talked about soaking, like, I think for a solid 6 months. And so to get this message, this is why you do it, folks. All the long nights, all the editing, all of this shit that goes along with podcasting, messages like this make it all worth it. Oh, 2 programming notes. Today, Friday, I'll be on Radio Andy on the Julia Cunningham Show at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So go check that out. I always love talking with Julia. I think we're going to talk a little Miami, a little Love is Blind, because I'm caught up on this season of Love is Blind. Who the hell makes a chicken smoothie with Crystal Light? I mean, talk about vomit in a cup. Are you kidding me? Wait till you get to that episode. Oh my God. Love is Blind is such a this is all weirdness. We've gone too far with reality TV. So I'll be on Julia Cunningham, and next week, I believe I'll be back on Jeff Lewis. He was in New York all week. Very fun week in New York, but I believe I am on next week. I'll let you know that day as soon as I have it. Today, we have season 19, episode 14, The Real Housewives of Orange County. This episode is entitled Hoedown Throwdown, because there is like a Western wear party at the end for Emily's Innocence Project, but also there could be a double meaning with this title, Hoedown Throwdown. I didn't know if they meant like hoe, like you a hoe, like Tamra, you a hoe, potentially hooking up with 98 Degrees. I didn't know if there was a double meaning there, and if there isn't, I apologize. I hope you'll forgive me. DirecTV gives us this description of tonight's episode. DirecTV says, subpar episode, pretty boring. No, it says Tamra meets with Katie in hopes of uncovering the truth. Shannon and Jen's friendship continues to blossom when they engage their dogs with a pet psychic. Poor Archie, you guys. Heather hosts an event for the Trevor Project. So that is the description that they give us for this episode. So we start the episode with like really like intense music, like you're in a horror film, which in some ways you are. And we see Tamra at a bar at like a restaurant going, I think I might need a Chardonnay for this. First off, you said you were done filming the last episode. You quit 4 times this season. And secondly, I thought you were going to not drink on camera because the last time you did, you quit the show as well. So that's our first shot of this. Is Tamra getting a glass of Chardonnay, and then all of a sudden we get this shot of like feet walking in with jeans and like white heels, and Tamra's exhaling like, This is a big meetup, you guys. Tamra's really nervous. Tamra's not nervous. Are you kidding me? Actress. And Katie Ginella walks in and goes, how are you? And hugs Tamra. And Tamra goes, Katie Ginella. Katie motherfucking Ginella. Fancy meeting you here. How are you? Katie says. And Tamra goes, I've been better. They've just really come at me this season, Katie. And we flash to Emily in the Beverly Hills slumber party where they're asking the question, who do you trust the least? And Heather is like, I trust Tamra the least. And people are like, would you give her sensitive information? And Emily says, no, I wouldn't. And then last episode we flash to with Tamra fake crying. The fact that both of you would say that you can't trust me. It's fucked up. Have a great season. I'm done. And then we flash to her presently in this season with Katie, telling Katie, a lot of the girls didn't want me to meet with you. But this is my show, and I don't give a rip what anybody else thinks or feels on this show. We flash back to last week when Emily Simpson was telling Tamra, Katie lies so much. She believes what she is saying. And Tamra's like, well, there's something that she said that resonated with me. She said, I like Tamra. No, she said, Heather's like, I mean, Katie's lips are moving. She's lying. And then Tamra in this scene tells Katie, Gretchen again pulled some complete lie out of her ass and Slade was involved in it. And then flashback to Emily saying she tells us all this unsolicited stuff that they get and hold on to it that has to do with Tamra. You're no different than what you have accused her of being, Tamra. And Tamra goes, what the fuck? And then Gretchen at that tactical, little seminar goes, I have kept my mouth shut forever. And I'm fucked. And Tamra's like, you kept your mouth shut? And Gretchen goes, yeah, about all the shit I know about you. Fuck yeah. And then Tamra goes, what do you know about me, bitch? What do you know about me, bitch? And Gretchen going, you don't want me to talk. I keep thinking about this. Like Lisa Barlow has these explosions where she's like, oh my God, you fucking. But I still find it entertaining. I just find Tamra screaming this shrill voice. And then we have the flashback of Tamra giving the double bird, fuck off. Tamra tells Katie in this scene, I'm just trying to figure out what the truth is. Tamra's a truth finder, a truth seeker. And then we get these quick cuts, like Katie said something, but we don't hear it. And Tamra goes, wait, what? And then Katie goes, either Slade is her mouthpiece or she's really, really good. And then Tamra in the talking head goes, you want to tell lies about me? I'll tell the truth about you. You want to tell lies about me? I'll tell the truth about you. Where does Tamra get these lines? Because I've heard these lines so many times through the years. I'm like, I've heard that. You want to tell lies about me? I'll tell the truth about you. Does Tamra watch TV and go, that's kind of good. That's a little bit of a serve. I'm going to write that down. I like that. And then in this scene, she's chugging her Chardonnay and she tells Katie, I'm not going to put up with it anymore. And then we get Real Housewives of Orange County. And then it says 24 hours earlier. That was kind of not a weak opening, but why are we protecting all of the Katie information? It's I want to hear Katie talk. I don't want to hear Tamra talk. I want to hear Katie explain herself. It's just when Matt Ginella was showing us the text with Slade, and then a lot of stuff was blacked out on those texts. I want to know what the full text exchange was, right? I can't be the only one. Anyways, it's a fun day in the OC, you guys. And Gretchen walks into this shop to meet Emily Simpson. And, they do that. Oh my God, hi, this is a cute store. Do the OC businesses just live in fear of people wanting to shoot the OC at their store? How many little knick-knack stores are in the OC? Emily says, how am I supposed to take this seriously when you're dressed like that? Because Gretchen is dressed like an Easter egg in this. And Gretchen in a talking head goes, I'm drawn to all things that are fun and girly and colorful. Anything that's a fun vibe. Emily says it's just she just got out of a covered wagon traveling the Oregon Trail. Yeah, if the Oregon Trail people were trad wives, but with fun pastels, which I don't think they were. But Gretchen's Emily, did you bring me here to make hats for your little thing? And she's like, yeah, do you want to make a hat? And Gretchen's like, yeah, I kind of do. Whatever gets me my paycheck. And so we meet Alexandra, the owner of this store, Lucky Cowboy. And so I don't know if this is like I don't know if this is like, sorry. What is, I don't know if this is like a B-level kimosabi that Kyle likes to go to from Beverly Hills. But she's like, you can do all these little accessories and you can incorporate them into the hat. And the lady's like, tell me a little bit about what we are wearing and making these for. And Emily, remember, she's worked with this Innocence Center for years that helps represent people that are wrongly convicted. And she's planning and hosting a fundraiser. And they're doing like a line dancing night, which that shouts innocence. Emily lets us know she doesn't practice law anymore, but the Innocence Center gives me a way to be involved in a legal world in a very humanitarian way. Listen, I mean, this is it raises so much awareness. It is so good. But the only innocence project I want you dealing with right now is Katie Ginella. Like, listen, if you can't figure that shit out, let's figure this. Let's figure out the innocence of this group of people, and then we can help everybody else. Also, I will say, like, a lot of shows bring so much awareness to so many good causes. But like I was saying earlier, if you don't have a good season, these kind of things will just sometimes drag a episode even further down, even though it is really, truly an amazing, amazing project that Emily is working for. It's the California Innocence Project. She says the current statistic is that there's over 100,000 people in prison wrongfully, and not technicalities, not sentencing issues, just people that shouldn't be there at all. So this fundraiser is for one of the clients, this guy, Anthony. And Anthony, we met last season. Remember when Emily took him to buy a suit? So she is helping Anthony get back on his feet again. So it really is a noble cause. And Anthony last season seemed like a really nice guy. So that being said, it's like, let's just work on the relationships between you women. That's probably not a popular opinion, but yeah, you can do both, but just make sure the show's on point. We get into the meat of the scene, and Emily's revealing to Gretchen that the night before, when Tamra ran off, it was a shit show because Tamra found out about the game they played in L.A. that said they would not trust Tamra. And Gretchen's like, oh my God, oh lordy, oh lordy, oh lordy. So we dip out of that scene, and now we're at Las Brisas, and we have Tamra in all black with a baseball cap walking slow-mo in, and she's meeting Gina. Oh, I'm Gina. I'm meeting Tamra. God. And they give a big hug. This is so weird. Gina's like, how are you? And Tamra's like, didn't sleep at all. Didn't sleep at all. And then Tamra goes, Gina, I'm so sick of this shit. I'm so over it. You are creating most of it, Tamra. In a talking head, she reminds us, I'm going in a very goddamn difficult time in my life. One of my best friends is fighting for her life, and now Sophia is off to college. I am emotionally drained, and it just seems like nobody really cares. Nobody really cares. Maybe Jesus Jugs cares. You just went to her wedding last Friday. Gina says, last night when we were in the kitchen together and you were vocalizing your feelings... And then we flash back to Tamra going, nobody wants to fucking listen to me. Nobody cares. Gina goes, it literally gave me a flashback to when we were at Vicki's engagement party. 2019. And this is when Tamra hid in a bush and she was freaking out. Do you remember that? And Tamra's like, I don't know. I don't know. And just shows things really never change. I forgot about this scene. And Gina was in the bush with Tamra going, do you want to talk to me about it? And Tamra's just like, no. Gina in this scene goes, it hit me. That was the last time that you were having an incredibly difficult, emotionally heavy, stressful year. And also that was the year after that season, Tamra got booted off the show. Interesting. But Gina says she's being compassionate towards her. In a talking head, she says she understands that Tamra does not behave correctly. But if I see you struggling, I'm going to jump in and let you know you're not alone. I feel like we need to do more tough love. I don't feel like we need, this is just, it's rewarding really horrible behavior in a sense. Gina says Gretchen was wildly out of bounds by doing what she did in LA. It's like people they're not innocent. They are doing things to you. Emily, somebody's not innocent. Innocence Project. But Gina goes, but then you're reactive to it. And Tamra goes, when is enough enough? I understand you feel so overwhelmed right now because it feels like everybody is on your back. You can feel that way about Shannon, Jen, and Gretchen, but Emily loves you. And Heather has always had your back. Even when you're wrong, Heather has had your back. And Tamra goes, no, when somebody says that they don't trust me, you can't say something like that. I am so hurt. Wow. Somebody not having any sort of personal revelation after multiple people that do treat this person like a princess, like to have no sort of introspection when multiple people are telling you the same thing, that is a piece of work. We flash back to Gretchen and Emily, and Gretchen's like, every single time that Tamra's ever remotely called out about something, she goes running. And then she does this, I'm not going to be in the room. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. See, even though I don't agree with Gretchen in a lot of things about her life, a broken clock is right twice a day. Like, right? Like, she's right here. She knows exactly how Tamra moves. Emily says, I'm telling you, I think she left the room actually like 5 times last night. And then we do a rundown flashback of all the times that Tamra left. It really is. They've made it into a joke, and they should make it into a bigger joke because it's weird. And Tamra should laugh at herself at a certain point because you can't keep telling people how you want to be treated and then behave this way, right? So Gretchen goes, well, why? Because people were calling her out? And Emily goes, I was being honest with her. And Gretchen goes, that's my point. And Emily's like, what am I going to do? What do you want me to do? Tamra's the absolute definition of a narcissist, Gretchen says. They literally throw the bomb and then they gaslight their victims into thinking that somehow they're in the wrong. I mean, Gretchen is right. I'm so sorry. Gretchen is right. Emily says she was mad at Heather, too, because it wasn't just me. Heather agreed with me. Heather said the same thing. Back to Gina. Gina goes, Tamra, I do think you have a valid point, but I think you need to talk about this stuff. But I just think that you can move forward with them. And then we see Heather Dubrow walking up. Heather Dubrow does not need this show. Like, so, it really must feel like going to a 9-to-5 for Heather. Like, oh God, what am I still doing here? I don't need to be here. Is this worth it for me? So Heather comes in. How are you? Tamra's just staring at a menu. So now Gina is like, I've been talking to Tamra, and, it kind of feels overwhelming for her because when anything happens now with her real friends, it feels like everybody, right? I love that Gina's now interpreting Tamra's emotions. And Heather goes, listen, I love you. You are my friend. Tamra goes, first of all, you've admitted you're afraid of me, and now you've admitted you don't trust me. So why would you be friends with me? At this point, I feel like I wish Heather would just fucking flip the table like Teresa Giudice and be like, you're fucking right. I fucking think you're disgusting. Fuck this. I do not need this. Gina, good luck with your real estate. But Heather goes, I explained that to you, Tamra, but I will explain it again. And then Tamra goes, you don't need to be condescending to me either. I'm not being condescending. That is the normal way I speak. Heather's like, my explanations are never good enough. Tamra now puts on her sunglasses. In a talking head, Heather goes, she can't dictate how I feel. Why are you going to be mad at me for being honest with you? How is that a friendship? Heather, you're so close. You're so close to figuring this out. Tamra's like, and the fact that you guys both did it in front of Gretchen, who just globs onto any information about me, even is worse. And Heather's like, well, I'm sorry that hurt you. But if you think I'm brushing over when she does something, I am not. I even said to her, you're using Slade conveniently to do your dirty work. Gina's like, I feel like both of you, you got to have a little trust in each other because you actually really are legitimately friends. And Tamra's like, I appreciate you apologizing and everything. I just have to work through it. Yeah, how's the fucking therapy going? We saw you go once. Let's up it to 2 to 3 times a week, maybe, right? Now we go back to Emily. Emily says, Gretchen, I'll tell you this, though. What really bothered me? Apparently, Tamra reached out to Katie. And Gretchen's like, why am I not surprised? And Emily's like, yeah, wanted to meet with her. And all of a sudden, it has to do with you. All of a sudden, Katie has credibility. And Gretchen goes, well, the thing about Tamra is that all of a sudden, she's going to believe Katie because it fits her narrative now. Emily in a talking head goes, you're going to sit across from a person who is a known pathological liar and you're going to ask them to give you the truth so you can then use it to hurt Gretchen? It's just bullshit. Now, Emily, this is where Emily, unfortunately, Emily doesn't have a horse in this fight because Emily, obviously is mad at Katie for what she perceives to be that whole housekeeper situation about did the boys talk shit, her boys talk shit, or hear Emily talk shit about Heather, right? That was like where this all stems from. But Emily really saying, no, I'll be so pissed if you meet with her. First off, you're on a reality show. That's unfortunately how these things work. But this isn't about Emily. This really is about Katie, Gretchen, and what was said. I would even include Kiki Monique in there before I would include Emily. So Emily just wants to take Katie down because Katie did wrong by Emily in Emily's estimation, which I understand that anger, but it's not fully to do with Emily. Emily goes, I said to Tamra, if you meet with her, we're going to have a real fucking problem. And Gretchen goes, zoinks, what? Sadly, though, and this is what's sad, when it comes to Gina and Emily, you're just pawns to Tamra. You know what I'm saying? Your opinion will never mean a great deal to Tamra. You know what I say? I'm not trying to be hurtful, but Tamra does not respect them as equals. I think they are equals, but Tamra does not see them as such. And so she will behave any way she wants and do. Emily saying that it only strengthens Tamra wanting to meet with Katie. And Gretchen's like, when did you tell Tamra that? And she goes, last night at the party. And when I got there. And then Gretchen goes, see, Emily, you're the problem. You're the shit stirrer. You're the shit stirrer. And Emily goes, that's not even a fair assessment, Gretchen. I'm not the one out talking crap about people. And Gretchen's like, here's the thing, Emily. I absolutely had no intent, even when Slade said that and brought that up. I said, no, I don't even know if I believe that. What are you talking about? And we flash back to 3 days earlier in Beverly Hills going, I just wanted to talk about Tamra's music when she was with Slade. And Emily goes, you brought something up, Gretchen, about her that is defamatory. No, it's not defamatory, Emily. And Emily's like, it is. And then Gretchen's like, let me show you something here. And Emily's like, oh my God, are you going to pull up a podcast or an article? She's like, no, I'm going to show you something, Emily. And I go, you say, Emily, that I'm defamatory? Look at this. And Emily goes, this is what both you and Tamra do. You get out your phone, you pull out articles, you pull up a podcast, and she's like, it is true. I was there when you did this, Gretchen. And then Gretchen goes, Emily, you need to take some accountability. You need to repent in front of the Lord. She didn't say that. But he's like, you need to take accountability. And Emily's like, for what? And Gretchen's like, for participating in it. You were encouraging it again and again. And Emily's like, I was not encouraging anything. She's like, you literally kept saying, Emily, play the song, play the song, play the song. When you called Slade, and she goes, I didn't call him, Gretchen. And Emily is actually taking a page out of Tamra's book. She's like, I'm not interested. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm out. I'm done. Get in your covered wagon, Gretchen. I'm done. Fuck off. And leaves without her decorated cowboy hats, you guys. Our next scene is with Shannon. And Shannon is letting Archie, the star of Real Housewives of Orange County, her long-suffering dog, out. And Archie gets out of this car and she's like, Archie, oh. And Archie just starts taking dumps all over this lawn. It's I believe that's Jenn Pedranti's house, which Archie, just one of the funniest, he's like, I'm going to shit all over Jenn Pedranti's front lawn. I do not approve of this relationship with Ryan. And Shannon's like, go, come on, Archie. Oh my God, all the poopies. Oh my God. How much poop do you, come on, Archie. And then inside, Jenn Pedranti has her dogs. Like, let's put our toys out for our new friend Archie. Outside, Shannon's like, it's so much poop. And then Archie keeps pooping. Like, Archie is literally littering this front lawn. And then Shannon's like, I don't have another bag. Oh my God. Oh, did I step in the poop? I gotta get another bag. I've ruined the property value, Archie. Oh my God. Shannon gets in and meets up with Jen at her place, and we get introduced to Keough. Her name is Keough, and she's an animal psychic. You spell her name Keao. Keough, Jen keeps saying. And it's a animal psychic, you guys. This is truly incredible. Jen says, I absolutely think our animals talk to us 100%. And I have a whole slew of animals, she says, so I can't wait to be able to hear them. I would love if all the animals were like, Ryan's done something. I called the FBI. Help us, help us, help us. Shannon in the talking head's like, I wanted to reach out to a dog psychic. I did. So all the dogs are there. Archie's barking. And Shannon's like, clearly this dog is trying to communicate with me. And I just wish he could speak. He's communicating with he's scatting. His poop is doing the talking, Shannon. So Keough is saying this is going to be like a conversation with these animals. They will project images to me, how they're feeling. You can ask anything at all regarding health, behavior, anything, okay? This is a grift. No, I don't know. I kind of believe in it. Who knows? So Jen goes first. And she has a bunch of animals. And Keough's like, she's like, if you feel something about any of my dogs and you want to go there or you want me to. And Keough's like, well, I feel like this beautiful dog right here, Crew, her name is Crew. She's the newest member of the crew, Jen says. And so Crew reaches out her paw to Keough. Crew's like, I need to speak to Jenn Pedranti immediately. And Keough's like, she's literally squeezing my heart. She knows that she is like the gift for everybody. Jen's like, my fiance and I have now a combined, blended family. And then when we got her, it was like the one piece that was now all of ours. And Crew is just sitting there like a good boy. So Crew's just sitting there, majestic. And then the other dog, Willow, a little bit of a runt here, like a little loaf, right? And Keough's like, do you sometimes scoop her up and carry her? She's asking for more of that. And Keough's like, did you joke about getting her a stroller or something? And Jen's like, is she wanting a stroller? I can't push Willow around in a stroller. And Keough's like, she's like the queen, and whatever she wants, she is going to get. I love Keough's like, and I have a stroller I can sell you out of my hatchback. Jen in the talking head goes, Willow does want to be picked up more often, and I'm not picking up Willow more often. Have you seen this girl? And then they do fat jokes. So you have Emily saying, move it, chubby. Like they flash back to another scene. Do not fat shame dogs. I hate that shit. Like all joking aside, like Tamra's like, he needs Ozempic. And Jen goes, this girl needs a treadmill, not a stroller. Jen, it's a fucking dog. Oh my God. And then Shannon's like, okay, this is Archie. He's like a human. He will bark and talk to me. And Keough's like, yes, yes. And Shannon's like, we have full conversations when I'm drunk. Shannon says, Archie lets me know how he feels. And we do flashbacks of all of these different scenes with Archie and Shannon. I want to meet Archie someday. Shannon says, it's probably more communication than I've had in certain romantic relationships. That's about you, John Jansen. That's about you. Shannon goes, I have so many questions. First of all, does he miss my daughters a lot? And she's reading the questions from her phone. Shannon came prepared. And Keough's like, there is a missing, yes. And then Shannon's like, does he get annoyed when we kiss him and cuddle with him? And Keough's like, no, he's good. And Shannon's like, does he like going to the park or going running? Does he like to walk on a leash? I don't know. And Shannon then goes, oh, I kind of know the answer. He wants to run around. Like, so these are all edited together really quickly. Shannon goes, this is a weird one. Why is he scared of boxes and plastic bags? And Keough's like, he's talking about move. Have you moved 3 times? And Shannon's like, or more. Yeah. And Keough's like, there's a little bit of anxiety around it. And Shannon goes, I'm an empty nester now, so I'm alone with him. Does he feel neglected? And Keough's just thinking about this, staring at Archie, and Archie's just panting. And it's like intense music, like dung, dung. Keough's doing a mind meld with Archie. And Keough's like, he doesn't feel neglected. No. However, he's talking about the long, drawn out goodbye that you give to him. And Shannon looks at Jen like, what? And then we flash back to 1 month earlier when Shannon was leaving for a trip of like, Archie, I'll tell you how long I'm going to be going. 1 night and 2 days. Let me get the suitcase. Archie, where are you? Where'd you go, Archie? And Archie's outside humping a stuffed animal, right? So these are the long drawn out goodbyes. And Keough says, it's that he feels you worry when you leave. And Shannon goes, should I get him a friend? Does he want to be the big king? And then Archie barks. And then Keough's like, you know what? Great idea. You've given me my job. You know what? He wants a brother. Yeah. That's the ticket. He wants a brother, Shannon. I don't think he wants a brother at all. But Keough's like, somebody established, not a puppy. And Shannon's like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. And then Jen's like, you're gonna be a big brother, Archie. Poor Archie has to break in a new dog. We only need Archie. This is bullshit. We do not need to get another dog, Shannon. Okay, so now we finally go back to the Katie, Ginella, Tamra scene. So we watch Katie walk in. We already saw this in the beginning. So we go to Tamra. How are you? Katie's like, I've been better. Actually, you should be like, I've been relaxing. I've been off for like 3 weeks now. Tamra says, I've been better. Are you okay? Katie says. And she's like, I'll survive. Katie goes, well, I got to tell you, I took a step back from the situation. All of it just makes me sad. I'm especially sad about Jen. And Tamra's like, because she didn't stick up for you. And Katie goes, I was hurt. And Tamra's like, I can imagine. And Katie goes, she called me once or twice. I didn't even pick up, I'm like super emotional lately because of all this stuff. I'm like, oh, super emotional. Are you going to sue the production company, Katie? Come on. You're okay. And then Tamra goes, I've been the odd man out so many times, Katie. I know how you feel, and I'm the odd man out right now. Tamra trying to do the cry thing again. I'm the odd man out now as well. Katie goes, I felt bad about what I did. I swear to God, I really did. I didn't mean to hurt you. And then we flash back to earlier in the season when Gina's like, this thing between you and Tamra and this blogger. And Tamra goes, she owned up to it. And then Katie goes, yeah, I called her on Instagram. And Tamra in this scene goes, an apology goes a long way. It does. And Katie goes, I tried to do that for Shannon, but I don't want to hurt anybody. Tamra in a talking head goes, what she did isn't right, but I don't think that Katie's like some sociopath liar. And I would know because I'm a sociopath. She apologized to me and she's being honest to me. So I'm going to take that for what it is. Part of the Tamra army. But she goes, I'm going to take that for what it is and hear her story. She says, Katie, I'm just trying to figure out what the truth is. You said Slade called Matt and said something like, we can't talk about this. And we go to a flashback at that lie detector night. And Katie's like, Slade even called Matt and said, don't share this. In this scene with Tamra, Katie says Gretchen lied and said you drugged her. And Slade said, tell Katie to stick to the story. Tell her not to waver. That's the nail in her coffin. And Tamra's like, wait, what? Katie goes, his exact words were, she has to stick to the story because it's a legal issue. Now, this better be backed up by a text message. We better get a text message confirming this, which I think we will. But she said it might be a legal issue. And so I don't know if they think it's a legal issue because the production company had filmed that night 17 or 18 years ago at the Naked Wasted. But Katie goes, I thought I was going to get in trouble. In a talking head, Katie goes, I was like, oh shit. And if it's legal, I don't want to talk about it. What am I going to do? Now, listen, I don't think Katie is as innocent as she's trying to come off in this scene. You know, it's like that whole thing. You can't play smart and stupid at the same time. I think Katie is very, very smart. I really, really do. And so this whole like, I don't want to, what do I do? I can't talk about anything illegal. I don't know what the real reason is here. I believe a lot of what Katie says, though. So Katie says, I was being lied to again by Slade. He's at the root of this tornado. Okay, so now we have the main villain is revealed. It's Slade. Katie says he is the eye of the storm for sure. She tells Tamra, I text her and I literally told her I will not share that. And then we see the text message, February 23rd at 1:15. Katie writes, I will, in parentheses, swear on my life, not bring that up. And then Tuesday, February 25th, 2 days later at 7:08 p.m., Gretchen says, hi, love. Sorry I missed your call earlier. Tried calling you back, getting on a flight in a little bit. And then February 26th, the next day at 9:09 a.m., Katie writes to Gretchen, hey, girlfriend, tried you. Call me whenever. Heart emoji. It's very interesting. Nobody's putting anything in text form, right? Katie goes, you said it. You're a liar. And Tamra goes, he was trying to shut you down. And Katie goes, correct. So I was like trying to cover, for my friend. But really, she was using me to cover for her lies. Tamra goes, he does the dirty work. He does all the talking. And then, she's like, oh, don't say that. Don't say that. And Katie goes, Matt's pissed. All of a sudden, it went from Slade calling him to complete silence. Oh, Matt lost his friend, you guys. That's like a gift from God if Slade stops calling you. Katie goes, so Matt's like, I'm going to reach out to Slade again, and I want to go sit down with him, man to man, and be like, what the fuck is going on? And Tamra goes, Slade's not a man. Slade's got a vagina. Slade has a smooth, bumpy part like a Ken doll. Slade's not a man, Katie. And then Katie goes, man to child. And then Tamra goes, man to douchebag. Real witticisms being thrown. Oh, I'll one-up you. Man to douchebag. Hey-oh! Ha-ha! Can I get a high five? Nobody? Okay, cool. And Katie goes, completely. And Tamra goes, everything they're saying that I'm doing to them, they're doing to me. And Katie goes, well, now I see that. And I have to see that because you're the only one that will film with me. Tamra goes, I really thought me and Gretchen made up, but the lies that they tell are non-stop, and I am tired of it. And then Tamra's like, do you know anybody like an assassin, like a Joey Buttafuoco? Anyways, then it's like really dramatic music, and we cut to commercial. So now we go to Heather. Heather Dubrow is in West Hollywood, and she's doing a fundraiser for the Trevor Project. She lets us know that the Trevor Project has a hotline for youth in crisis. She's been involved with them for a very long time, almost 10 years. She became aware of them through Katarina, her daughter. And Heather says, I think we can all agree that kids in crisis need help. That's exactly what the Trevor Project does. She gives a speech in front of people, including her castmates, Emily, Tamra. Tamra's there with a sourpuss face on. But Heather says this cause is near and dear to her heart, not just because she's a mother, but she's a fierce supporter of the LGBTQ plus community. And she says, as many of you know, I have 4 amazing kids, each of them very unique. Our home is filled with love and acceptance. Terry's there in his Terry Dubrow leather jacket. Nikki, her son, is there. It's a family affair. Heather says, I also know that not every young person grows up feeling safe. Every 45 seconds, an LGBTQ plus youth tries to commit suicide. This is true, you guys. And this is why the Trevor Project urgently needs our funds. And every single cookie out of our limited edition Funfetti Oreo cheesecake cookie, the proceeds are going directly to the Trevor Project so they can keep doing the life-saving work that they do. So in that spirit, Terry and I today are going to pledge $50,000 to continue all the incredible work that you do. That's amazing, man. Whatever you want to say about Heather, this shit is amazing. And if you have that kind of money, it is so amazing that you're giving back. I totally support this charity. Emily in a talking head says, thinking about a child being out there and feeling lost and not feeling like they're seen or loved is heart-wrenching. And so she's made it her life mission to speak about it and to advocate, and so that they knowledge and understanding is permeated out there as much as she can possibly do it. And that's amazing. It is amazing. So she's hugging her family. Heather's hugging her family. That was very sweet and a good cause. And I do believe eventually by the end of this season, there is going to be a fight with Gretchen, because Gretchen has, I believe, liked a lot of things that are anti-LGBTQ plus. And I believe that will be a storyline. I could be wrong. Maybe it'll come up at the reunion. Who knows? Yeah, we'll see how that lands. We get out of that scene very quickly. We're back in the OC, and we are now over... We're over at Emily's place. with one of the heads of the Innocence Project, and she's having these exonerees, people that have been exonerated, over to Emily's place to kind of get their stories, and that'll help with their data and stuff like that. So a couple, I think 3 exonerees come in, and they're telling their stories to Emily. I thought it would be a fun little thing if Emily brought the lie detector guy back, of like, we're hooking you up to a lie detector to see if you truly are innocent. That would be in very poor taste. Thank God they didn't do that. But in the course of this scene, Emily does find a way to bring up navigating the troubles that her son is having, which is wild because, these people have been unfairly put in prison. And then Emily's like, let me tell you about the prison I put myself in with my son. No, I'm just, all kidding aside, this is it's a great thing, but it's like, it was very heavy. So now we do a round robin where all the ladies are getting into their Western wear for this Innocence Project event. We got to stop cosplaying as cowboys. I feel like Yellowstone came on the air and people just took it to the next level. Like, I can only imagine real cowboys and cowgirls are like, what the? I mean, it's nice, but come on, guys. Come on, you're not real cowboys. Come on, the McBee dynasty, those are real cowboys. We are over at Gretchen and Slade's trying on a big black cowboy hat. And Gretchen's like, babe, I've only seen, I think, Emily and Jenn since the tactical day where things went so crazy with Tamra. And we flash back to the fuck off and Tamra walking out. And Gretchen's like, I'm wondering if Eddie's going to be there tonight. And Slade's like, the problem is, I'm just speaking on behalf of the guys. We don't respect Eddie because Eddie just allows her to say and do whatever she wants, whether she's lying, harming someone's marriage, making an accusation about their business. It's like not cool. I like that Slade is the representative of the guys. Speaking on behalf of the guys, we feel like you're not a voting bloc, you idiot. What are you talking about? But, I mean, some points were made. Like, listen, Tamra does do these things. We can't be ignorant to this fact. Okay, so now we're at the Innocence Project, this hoedown, where we're going to raise money for one of the guys at the Innocence Project. Oh, my God. Ryan and Jenn walk up. Ryan, of course, wearing a sleeveless shirt to show off those guns. And Jen's like, this is going to be fun. And he's wearing like a sleeveless shirt, like a denim thing, and on the back it says Coors beer, folks. Jenn says, I love a Western vibe all day long. Country music, Western, boots, hat. Ryan and I are kind of a cowboy Barbie and Ken. Whatever makes you sleep at night, So Emily is very excited that Ryan dressed up for the theme. Emily's very excited. Shane has not dressed up for this theme. They cut to Shane. He's like in a booth on his phone drinking what looks like a cold brew. He doesn't have a cowboy hat on. Anyways, we get slow-mo walks up at Tamra and Eddie. Everybody's entering. Okay, I just took a little bit of a break. Good news, actually. If you're a fan of the band No Doubt, which is an Orange County band, in a lot of ways, they just announced that they are going to be playing the Sphere in Las Vegas in June of 2026. It looks like they're going to be playing 6 shows. So Gwen Stefani is the first kind of female headliner at the Sphere, which is very exciting. And I saw them, I mean, I didn't go to Coachella that year, but I saw it on the live stream and they were excellent. So that will be an amazing show, I'm sure. I will have a baby at that point, so I will not be going. But if any of you guys go, please be my boots on the ground and let me know how it is. Anyways, we're back at this Innocent Project hoedown where everybody's wearing cowboy hats. It's great. Emily is giving Tamra all the statistics of all the people that have been, kind of wrongly accused and spent time behind bars. And I'm just shocked that Tamra didn't find a way to be like, I've been wrongly accused. I've also felt entrapped in a prison. And I will say at the end of the day, I feel trapped in a prison having to watch this season of this show. I'm sorry to be so negative, folks. I'm sorry. Also, Elizabeth Vargas, a cast member from 3 seasons ago. She's there. I think she's excited to be there. Gina shows up with Travis. I'm shocked he was able to make it through the door with his huge, gigantic balls. But Gina's like, Travis looks very good as a cowboy. Very sexy. And we see other people talking to Travis. And Gina's like, I don't want him near any girl. The girls are just flocking to Travis's cowboy hat and huge testicles. But all these girls are actually surrounding Travis, and Gina's like, what's going on? Oh my God. She's like, I seriously need to lock up my cowboy before these bitches get their spurs in him. And then Shannon comes in with her friend, another blonde, fully decked out in cowboy regalia. She looks like the female Johnny Cash. Shannon loves a dress-up moment. So Gina's like, is everybody here? And the only person is Gretchers isn't here, Emily says. And Tamra looks nervous, and Emily turns to Jenn. Well, that's going to be awkward with Tamra and Gretchers in the same room. Oh, did you just think about that, Emily? That's what I always love, these events for like a really good cause. Hey, come to this event for a really good cause so we can actually have a blowout fight that will take away the meaning of the actual cause. But Emily to Jenn is like, do you remember when Tamra said she was going to sit down with Katie and I got pissed? And Jenn was like, yeah, you said that's it for you if she does. And Emily goes, she fucking met with her. Then you should have disinvited her. Like, hold true to your word, Emily. Emily says it's frustrating. After the cake party, I just tried to share something with Tamra so that we could actually have a more in-depth, real conversation. And we flash back to one day earlier where Emily sits down with Tamra saying, I feel like we've had an amazing friendship, but I think, am I next at some point? And Tamra's like, what do you mean? And Emily goes, you get mad. You're going to make accusations or talk about things that you heard without knowing if they're true or not. That's the scary part, Tamra. And Tamra goes, note taken. In the talking head, Emily says, I felt as the conversation was good and it was forward moving, but then she proceeds to give me an example of her not being trustworthy. And we flash back to that scene again where Tamra goes, Emily, I met with Katie. And Emily goes, you're saying that you're mad at me because I said that I didn't trust you, and now you're proving my point. She says, it's just self-serving, and to me, it just makes Tamra look bad. And Jen's like, Tamra and Katie did meet? It's just ridiculous. They're all in cowboy hats. How can I take this seriously? And Tamra comes up to the Jenn and Emily, and Jen's like, I heard you met with Katie. And Tamra's like, yeah. And Jen's like, okay, well, howdy, partner. How'd that go? And Tamra's like, I think it went well. And Heather's like, Heather's trying to walk away from the situation, and Shannon's trying to walk away too. And Shannon's telling Heather, we can just hear the audio, we don't see him. But Shannon's like, oh yeah, I'm Tamra. Oh yeah, I didn't quit a second time the other night. And hey, how are you? I like Shannon, the only one pointing out how ridiculous it is that Tamra keeps quitting and keeps coming back. But Jenn goes, Tamra, you feel like you got what you wanted from Katie? And Tamra goes, yeah, I feel validated. She told me a few things about Slade. And I mean, I don't really feel comfortable telling you, Jenn, because I know you're friends with Gretchen and I know you don't understand what she's been doing to me for 12 years. In a talking head, a producer asked Tamra, why is Katie credible after all the issues you've had with her previously? And Tamra goes, the more time that went on, I started thinking, and I'm like, oh my God, Gretchen and Jenn set her up. And now that Jenn and Gretchen have shown Katie they're not on her side, Katie's not sticking up for them anymore. And she's telling me truly what happened. Man, she is playing 3D checkers here, you guys. Tamra is going the long way to make her point. All of a sudden, upbeat cowboy music plays, slow-mo walking in of Slade and Gretchen smiling. And Tamra immediately sees them, gets kind of uncomfortable. Eddie's like, Tamra, we good? Are we good? Yeah. And Tamra tells Eddie, I feel bad, but I'm not going over there with Gretchen and Slade. I don't want to be face-to-face with them. And Eddie's like, I don't either. Gretchen slaps Heather Dubrow's ass and goes, howdy, partner. Howdy, cowgirl. And they do the fake kiss thing. Kiss, kiss. Gretchen hugs Emily. Gretchen hugs Shannon. And Tamra's clocking all of this stuff. Emily says, even though Gretchen was being overly aggressive, we just both decided to move on. We cut to 5 minutes after walking out at that cowboy event. I guess they walked back in, and Emily says, here's the thing. Whatever issues we have, Gretchen, it can be worked out. And so everything turned out to be good that day. We just didn't get to see it at the time. Emily says, hey, listen, she can be mad at me, but she can also show up and donate money. Do you think she did donate money? How much do you think they donated? Anyways, Emily immediately is like, get this, Gretchen. Tamra met with Katie. And Gretchen is like, zoinks! Oh, shoot. Really? How do you know that? And Emily goes, Tamra told me. And Gretchen goes, oh, so you went from I hate this girl and she's dead to me to all of a sudden I'm going to be friends with her because she's going to give me intel on Gretchen. And Shannon goes, she's so obsessed with you, Gretchen. And Gretchen's like, right? I've been saying that for a long time. And we cut to Eddie and Tamra like giggle laughing at the corner of the room. We come back from the break and Slade Smiley is talking to Dr. Terry Dubrow. And Slade's like, oh my God, Gretchen was so excited that tonight was going to be all about cowboys. And Terry's like, is she pulling cowboys? And then Slade goes, hot cow girl, who I know will ride a pony when she gets home. And Terry goes, ha, 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 ha. And I go, oh my God. Did he just tell Terry that Gretchen is going to ride him? Is he a pony? What the fuck is going on? Emily's mother-in-law is there in better news. Emily's mother-in-law meets Gretchen and Shannon. Larry, Emily's father-in-law, is there. It's a family affair. And then Anthony, the exoneree who we're raising money for, is talking to Elizabeth Vargas. And Elizabeth is like, hey, if I can do something for you, Anthony, to get back on this show, besides just school and donating, let me know, right? Emily gets up there to make the speech. Thank you so much for tonight. Thank you to each and every one of you being here this evening. For everybody who bought tickets, obviously this all goes to the education fund, which will go to Anthony. So if you find in your heart to donate more, that would be amazing, she says. The current total at this point is $15,000. Anthony makes this speech about being humbled, very beautiful. And then they go back to the party. Which means going back to some sort of drama and fight to ruin this party. But first, somebody is teaching them how to do the Texas two-step. And everybody's doing a little two-step in their cowboy boots, a little line dancing, a little don't tell my heart, my achy, breaky heart. I just don't think you'd understand. Tamra's gonna quit before we finish this bit. And I think we've seen it in there. Shannon goes, line dancing is a little boring for me. Let's do a little Saturday Night Fever. And then she does a little Saturday Night Fever dance move in her talking head. There's like smoke filling up the dance floor for some reason. Gretchen's like, there's so much smoke coming out, I can't see what the instructor's telling us to do. Somebody help me here. Heather Dubrow actually is not bad. And Heather's like, it's only 4 steps, Gretchen. Maybe that's 3 too many for Gretchen. Gina goes, I grew up in the club. I'm more like, I'm good with the glow sticks, you know, beep boop bop beep boop boop boo. Shannon can't do it. She's doing physical comedy shtick, which I love. Oh, I fell on the door. Ow, ow. Heather goes, I don't know if Shannon is performing some sort of mating ritual dance over there. We see Shannon like bouncing around on the dance floor in slow motion. Everybody's applauding. For some reason, there's a shirtless man on stage. It's just hilarity, folks. Emily gets the mic again, and Gina and Travis donated $5,000. Yeah, Casita Gina, hell yeah, look at this. And then Terry's like, hey, you know what, let me interrupt. And talking to Gina's like, can a bitch just have a moment? Terry says, this wonderful event and charity, and we want to do what we can, so we're going to match that $5,000. This is an expensive week for Terry on this show. $50,000 at the Trevor Project and $5,000 here, but I love it. I love it. So everybody's clapping. Jenn Pedranti's like, what the fuck? Gina was like, I thought they were going to pledge more. They're like 6,000. I'm like, put your fucking paddle down, Terry. Jeez. Jenn Pedranti's over with Ryan and Slade and Gretchen and says, when Gretchers drinks Fireball, she rides those mechanical bulls over there. She really gets down. Naked wasted, folks. Naked wasted. Tamra is talking to Elizabeth Vargas, and saying, I won't be around Slade. He's so gross. And then Gretchen, I can't stand her. She's fake as shit. And Elizabeth is like, oh my God, thank you so much for doing a scene with me. Yeah. Are you shitting me, Tamra? Jenn Pedranti, talking to that group says, I haven't talked to Tamra since you weren't there since the cake decorating party. So I said to Tamra, I says, so you met with Katie. She kept saying there was something about you, Slade, you. And Gretchen's like, there's always something about you, isn't it? Gretchen says, I'm going to go ask Tamra what information she got about us with Slade. And Shannon's like, wait, what? No. I think you need to go by yourself. And Gretchen's like, it's about Slade, so I'm having Slade go too. Shannon in a talking head goes, it's not going to get you anywhere. Maybe Gretchen thought that there could be some sort of a resolve, but I think when you have Slade there, it's like you're bringing your army. So Slade, she pulls Slade by the hand and like is walking towards Tamra. Tamra's talking to Emily and says, sorry, I know you guys are all up there, but I really don't want to be around Slade. And Emily's like, how can we move on from this situation? And Tamra goes, they can't. Jenn Pedranti on the other side says, Gretchen and Slade, they're going to go have a talk with Tamra? Heather goes, oh, I saw them walk by me. It was like, zoom, very quick. This is very intense. I feel bad watching. Gina's like, this shit is so uncomfortable. So Gretchen walks right up to Tamra and goes, hi. And Tamra just goes, no. Not happening, and walks away. And Gretchen's like, she runs. Look at her run. And she grabbed Eddie, and Gretchen's like, look at her grab Eddie. And run. And then Gretchen shouts out, run, bitch! Run, bitch! Run for your life, bitch! Run! And Tamra goes, leave me alone. They're trash. And Eddie flips the bird at them. Eddie's like, this is cut fit, and this is a cut fitness bird I'm flipping you right now. And we cut to our final commercial. I think Gretchen was wrong to say, run, bitch, run. I mean, like, listen, this is an Innocence Project thing, and you're shouting out, run, bitch, run! I said Tamra can be shrill when she yells. Gretcher's, I feel the same way about. It was just like, ugh. But once again, Tamra running out. Like, I'm sorry, we don't pay you, not me, but the production company and Bravo don't pay you to keep running out of scenes. I know you dislike them. I know. But unfortunately, they're cast on the show. Unfortunately, you're going to have this conversation. And you keep removing yourself from scenes just doesn't do. How are we supposed to think like, oh yeah, she's an amazing reality, like she's one of the founding fathers of reality TV. You gotta have these tough scenes. You just do. You've run off so many times this season. And I know, like, I want to hear more from Tamra about why she doesn't want to do this. That's the thing I keep asking myself. Anyways, Emily says, I don't think she's in any state right now to talk. And Gretchen's like, I don't even care. I don't even fucking care. And Emily's like, don't yell at me. Don't yell at me, Gretchen. Don't yell at me. And Gretchen's like, such bullshit, dude. In a talking head, Gretchen says, I'm not just going to disengage. Typically, people that run are hiding from the truth. And I think it obviously proves that Tamra's guilty, that she's talking shit about stuff she doesn't know. If you have something to say about what supposedly Slade said, then address it with Slade. The guy's right here. Outside, Tamra tells Eddie, I come to support a cause. They always got to jump in and do something. Yes, that is the thesis of reality TV and especially Housewives. Yes, this is what it unfortunately is. Tamra's like, they antagonize me. They make fun of me. These are all things she does as well. So the hypocritical nature of this is really showing its face, even though I'm probably more on Tamra's side than I am on Gretchen's. And Eddie goes, it's childish. And Tamra's like, well, Eddie, flipping them off is childish too. I wish you wouldn't have done that. And Eddie's like, sorry. Why is Eddie catching a stray? Emily comes outside and says, that was aggressive. She shouldn't have done that. And Tamra's like, me? No, Gretchen. I don't understand why Slade is so involved in this, Emily says to Tamra. Shane doesn't go everywhere with me and be like, hey, no, Shane doesn't even want to be here tonight. Shane's got a normal life. And Tamra's like, he's a little bitch. Eddie goes, he's a little bitch. Tamra in a talking head goes, if she wanted to walk up to me and apologize for what she did, then go for it. It was all for attention. She tells Emily, we have somebody that makes Ryan look good. Not me, Ryan. Ryan, Jenn Pedranti's Ryan. Eddie's laughing at this. Ha, 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 ha. Tamra goes, it's an issue when that happens. Ha, 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 ha. In a talking head, Tamra goes, classless trash as we get another shot of Slade and Gretchen holding hands. Tamra goes, I don't talk to trash. I don't talk to, yes, you do. What are you talking about? She goes, I don't talk to trash. I throw it in the garbage. And then the garbage man comes and picks it up on Fridays. Sometimes, if I bet he takes the can out, sometimes the trash gets left there. And then you got to wait for the next week to get the trash. I'm doing a trash metaphor, right? The trash can. Anyways, Tamra goes, Emily, tell everybody I said hi. And Emily goes, I appreciate you. How did we switch this too? Is that, Emily, aren't you supposed to be mad at her for talking to Katie? I'm so confused. People can't even keep, like, who's mad at who. Inside, Slade has the guys around. He goes, hey, it wasn't my intent, you guys, to, like, drop a bomb or anything. And Terry goes, well, consider the bomb dropped. Terry is like, I have like 3 real jobs. What the fuck? I live in Beverly Hills. Why am I even here? Gretchen's telling the ladies, why can Tamra say whatever she wants about Slade and then he can't address it? I don't understand that. You know? And then Jen goes, what is confusing to me is Tamra sought out Katie to have a conversation about whatever Slade said. But you were not on the phone. And they're like, did you say that? And Jen's like, I was trying to. We keep saying the same shit in this episode. The producer asks Gretchen says, I guess the question really is, Slade loves to get involved. Is that, and Gretchen's like, no, but like, here's the thing. He doesn't love to get involved. I know that you guys all think this. Slade gets involved because the women start talking about Slade. But somehow Slade and I are the bad guys in this situation. Okay, let me correct you right here. To a degree, because Slade was so disliked in his earlier work on this show. But Slade legitimately put forth that rumor about Tamra and Jeff Timmons from 98 Degrees. So that is why. There's no big mystery here. There is something to be upset at Slade about. But Gretchen's just like, this is just so confusing to me. And then Gretchen tells Emily, you think I came off aggressively? And Emily's like, you did. Both of you did. I understand why she left. And Emily goes, it made me uncomfortable and I'm fucking aggressive. So Emily's starting to get angry. And she goes, it's aggressive when you come up with a man and you come into a circle and both of you are sitting there. And so, I don't know. Emily's just getting angrier and angrier. And then Gretchen finally screams, it's not about Slade! How much fireball did we give Gretchen? Like, she's screaming nonstop. It's not about Slade! God, for the love of God! And then Emily's screaming in her face, don't you come with your 6-foot ripped husband and then you get in her face? And it was aggressive. And Gretchen's like, no, it wasn't aggressive. And then the closed captioning says indiscernible arguing because it's just a bunch of noise of them shouting. No, you. And then Gretchen walks off. And Emily's like, I'm not interested because she's just going to yell at me. I don't need a conversation. I'm going to yell back. This was a great night. We raised all the money. And it turns out they raised like $42,000. So that's a positive spin on the night. And Emily's like, walk out peacefully. This is a fundraiser. We've already just screamed a bunch. At this point, peaceful is out the window. Gretchen is telling Slade, Emily said that we were aggressive walking up to Tamra. Slade says, I'm happy to stay out of it, my love. But then don't talk about us. Gretchen's like, I'm just over it. I'm over it. Unfortunately, she doesn't have, like, it's like a political gambit. Like, she doesn't have the power to have enough people. Like, she can't be over it. Like, Tamra is powerful enough to keep saying, I'm over it. I'm over it. Gretchen has no leg to stand on to say, I'm over it. She can't use Tamra's bit. She doesn't have it, doesn't have the votes. Next time on The Real Housewives of Orange County. Sorry, I was wishful thinking saying Salt Lake City. Emily says, maybe we can all go somewhere and enjoy our friendships. And they go to Amsterdam next episode, you guys. Amsterdam. And Shannon's trashed. They're doing something with I think dicks, with male prosthetics. Something to do with Jenn Pedranti's bridal shower. Something about Shannon. Oh, Shannon's drunk and Tamra's getting into it with Shannon. I could have said that about any episode, you guys, but that is it. We've made it to the end of the week. Thank you guys so much for being here. Oh my God, I am so stressed out. I was just thinking about having a baby. the whole recap. Anyways, come back tomorrow. We're doing a Taylor Swift thing, but we'll also be over on Patreon with Real Housewives of New York. But eat something good, drink something great, tell people you love them this weekend, hang out with your friends or check in with yourself. Read something good, watch narrative storytelling, not reality TV shows, and then come back on Monday. All new Pop Culture Roundup with Sophie Ross. Bye, guys.